Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us today for a very important topic, surviving the genocide in Gaza. Yesterday, Tuesday morning, Israel dropped 3 or 4 2,000-ton bombs on people living in tents in the Al-Mawasi area. This is a safe zone, designated safe zone, and the Israeli army told the Palestinians in Gaza to move to this area and evacuate where they were staying before. But you see, regardless of that, they still dropped bombs on them. And we don't know really how many Palestinians were killed because when you drop a bomb on people living in tents, they are obliterated and their bodies are not found. And in fact, there's a big crater there as well in Al-Mawasi. As we all know, Israel has been committing genocide on the Palestinians for almost a year. And genocide is not just about dropping bombs on people or shooting them. It's also like there's also like attrition genocide, by the fact that they've enclosed over 2 million people in an open air prison, not allowing them to escape or go out. And then they restrict food and water and essential things like medicine. And so now it's even worse. They've told them to go to even smaller areas and cram them in, and then they bomb them. So I know that elderly people have been killed because they have lacked access to kidney dialysis machines, medicine for chronic diseases like insulin, blood pressure medicines. So a lot of elderly people have been killed because of this, and children have been killed because of lack of access to even formula milk. There's starvation. There's a lot of disease and sickness from contaminated water. But you know what it's like to live in Gaza during this genocide? We know a bit because we have live screening videos and people on social media. But I think it's important to hear from people who have lived there during the genocide. And so today we have Dr. Muhammad Al-Akkad, who was in Gaza during this genocide for 7 months. And we have Dr. Hassan Al-Hasna, whose family was trapped in Gaza during this time. Alhamdulillah, they're all here safe in Malaysia now. But I would like us to listen to their experiences. And so I will now go to Dr. Muhammad Al-Akkad. He holds a master's and PhD in linguistics from University Malaya. Prior to leaving for Gaza, he served as an assistant professor at Management Science University, and currently he's a postdoctoral research fellow here at the Hashim Sani Center for Palestine Studies at University Malaya. Additionally, he's the founder and CEO of the Asian Federation of Translators and Interpreters in Malaysia. So I'd like to ask him first, can you tell us a bit of your background, how you came to Malaysia, and what prompted you to return to Gaza?
Yeah, indeed, yes. Thank you so much, Juan Siri Norman Hashim, for this introduction. Yes, in 2010, I came to Malaysia to approach my master's degree in linguistics at University of Malaya. So after I finished my master, I even tried several times to go back to Gaza through my master's degree from 2010 until 2014. It was really hard for me to get back to Gaza because every single year there used to be a war. Every year we have a war in Gaza, so it was very difficult for me to get back. So instead of getting back, I continue my PhD. I pursued my PhD to complete my PhD in Malaysia as well. So after I finished my PhD, I tried also several times to go back to Gaza, but it was really difficult. Once again, I couldn't make it to go back. So I decided to look for a job in Malaysia, and Alhamdulillah, I landed on one of the position in Management University as assistant professor So from that time, every single year, I tried hard to go back to Gaza through my daily communication with my family members and my extended family relatives from there. So they keep urging me not to come. They said every few months we have a war, every few months we have a conflict. So better not to come because we are scared. If you come, you will scare. And if you stuck, you will stay at least 1 year to be able to get back to Malaysia. So you will lose your study, you will lose your university, you will lose your job, you will lose everything. So better not to come. So through this journey in Malaysia for almost 14 years, I get married, and Alhamdulillah, now I have 3 kids. So for the past 14 years, or to be exact, for the past 7 years in Malaysia after I get married, my wife and my kid never seen my family, never ever seen my family, because we cannot go back to Gaza and meet my family members. It was really hard and difficult. So in 2023, I decided to go back to Gaza after I have heard from my oldest brother that my mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I decided to take the risk and to go back. Whatever the situation is going to be there, I don't care. I just want to go back. I have only one decision: to go back to Gaza to see my mother and to see my family. So I went to Gaza on September 2023, and we stayed there. Once we arrived in Gaza, there was a very red carpet waiting us. The whole family was welcoming us. So it was a very wonderful welcoming for the first few days. After that, the October 7 has started.
Okay. We have also with us Dr. Hassan Abu Hasna. He earned his PhD in Educational Technology from University Technology Malaysia and a master's degree from UPM. Before leaving for Gaza, he was an assistant professor at UTM, where he also completed a postdoctoral fellowship. So, Dr. Hassan, would you like to tell us about your background, why you came here, and when you returned?
Thank you very much for having me, first of all. My journey started in Malaysia in 2012 when I came to pursue a degree. I always had that passion about education and research. And then after completing my master's degree, I got a scholarship from Malaysian International Higher Education, MIS, to continue my PhD. I did in University Technology Malaysia from 2016 to 2019. And then once I graduated, I worked as a postdoc for 6 months in UTM as well. And then I got promoted to assistant professor in Malaysia as well. All that time, we never went back to Gaza, where this is a similar story as Dr. Al-Aqad. We Palestinians have the same, stories everywhere. In 2022, we've decided that I have 5 children. Mostly, 2 of them are twins. So the youngest one was 8 years. They never saw their grandparents or family. They didn't know their roots in Gaza. So we decided that I accompany my wife to Gaza because she was not allowed to go on the plane alone because of the twins. They were less than 1 year back then. So I did accompany her. I was only planning to stay for a week or two, and then I came back. I come back to UTM where I was working, but I got stuck for almost 7 months. And then I got the opportunity to leave about 20 of September 2023. I left. I told my wife that she needs to prepare everything, the luggage, everything, because I was going to, call them very soon once I settled down here in Malaysia. But then October 7th happened, and then the war happened, where everything changed.
I'm sorry to hear that. What happened after October 7th for your family? I mean, what happened to your children and your wife? What happened to the house then?
Well, after 7th of October, everything changed. The war broke out. Uh, I was in Malaysia, but my family was trapped in Gaza. I was completely helpless. Every day I watched the news, hoping that and praying at the same time that my family wasn't among the casualties, because you know uh, we were not able to contact, so we didn't know actually if they were killed, they were um, being kidnapped or anything. We were hopeless. We couldn't even contact them. So it was, a nightmare for everybody.
How do you feel? You were alone here and your family was there.
Well, it was the toughest period of my life, literally,
Mm.
because when you are abroad and your family in the middle of the war, you feel, you feel like the double of that, what they are feeling. Your heart is broken. You're anxious. You are sleepless. You always think that your family are gone, because I've heard so many times that my family members was announced as casualties of the war. So I remember that day, I heard that there was 7 members of my family, Abu Hasna, they were killed. Then I thought these are my parents, I mean my kid and children. So it was really tough, but we move on.
Yeah, yeah. Let me ask Dr. Akkad now. What was life like after October 7th when you were there?
Okay. Then after October 7, now life has totally changed from A to Z. So it was very difficult for my family and me to bear the situation there, because we never have experienced such situation. We are bombing is everywhere, and we have to kind of displacement every single week. So every few days we have to displace, because a kind of alert or fire notice from the Israeli military. We have to displace this area to go to another area.
How do they tell you when you have to go?
Normally, they call the phone number, either our phone numbers or one of our extended family phone numbers, or sometimes they throw kind of some pamphlets through the air drones, the Israeli air drones.
So how often is it when you move to one place and then after that you get another message and you move to another place?
Uh, for my journey, Gaza, almost 7 months, we moved more than 20 times.
20 times.
More than 20 times from place to place.
How do you bring things with you? I mean,
It's very, very difficult. It's almost impossible to bring things with you. It was really difficult because of that. In every turn of displacement, we have to abandon something. We have to abandon something. So we cannot carry, for example, this the first time we carried almost everything from our home. We took it to my sister home. So for the next time, when they asked my sister and the surrounding area to this place to go to another area, we left most of our belongings in our sister home. We cannot keep carrying stuff.
Yeah.
It's very heavy, and also it's very, very expensive, because there is no transportation to help you to carry this stuff from here and there. So it was only by yourself and by your barefoot you have to carry and move yourself. Otherwise, you will die with your belongings. So you have to leave it.
so you carry your children with you with all your
I
things?
start carrying my children and their belongings, their mattresses, their clothes, everything for the first 2 weeks only. Imagine after that, we abandoned everything. We left the clothes, we left the milk for my kid, who was that time about 7 to 6 months. We left everything because we cannot carry anything. Even the milk, the diaper for the baby, we cannot carry. It was very heavy because you are going to walk around 15 kilometers walking on foot.
Your children also? I mean, your young children have to walk that
Yes,
far?
even the kids. I have to carry them one by one in turn. For example, every half an hour, I need to carry one of them. Otherwise, all will be crying because they cannot bear to walk such a long distance.
So there'll be many, many people on the road with you.
Exactly. And not only that, it was at the midst of night. Imagine.
In the middle of the night?
Middle of night, we are moving. And rockets, shooting, snipers everywhere around you. So in every single minute, you expect yourself to be dead. Every single minute.
Why do you have to move at night? Why can't they wait till day?
No, because we got the alert at night and we have only 1 hour to move.
That's
And
crazy.
the alert it mentioned you have only 1 hour to move because your area is a kind of military armed area. What is military armed area? It's nothing. Honestly, it's nothing. No military, even one bullet have not been shot against Israel from our area. So, but they keep moving also from here to here, from here to there. This is not only because of fighters. This is the strategy of Israel, which is a kind of displacement, a great or a grand displacement for the all Palestinians. Even there are some cities or some uh, subskirts in Gaza, they have never been shot even one bullet against any of the Israelis, but they have been asking them several times to move from place to place. At the end, they destroy all their houses, so you have no place to go back.
I see. So what if people don't want to move? There's a risk they'll be bombed. Is that
Exactly.
I see.
Most of those people, like some of my family members, they abandoned leaving every time. They said, "Okay, we are more. If you want to kill us, just shoot. We are not moving." And unfortunately, yes, they have been dead.
Oh,
The whole house has been collapsed over their heads. And the next day, so who's going to be blamed?
so you started from what area and then moved to what area? You did 20 times?
Yeah, first I was staying at my own rented unit
Where was that?
in the downtown of Khan Yunis. We call Khan Yunis Al Balad, downtown of Khan Yunis. I used to stay there almost 2 weeks from the date of October 2nd. After that, I moved to my family area, my extended family area, which is beside the Gaza European Hospital in Khan Yunis, in the eastern part of Khan Yunis. I lived there also another 3 weeks. Early November, we start moving from our extended family member, which is a very big area. All our extended family members, my uncle, cousin, everyone living there. So they asked us to shift from that area to another area where no one nowhere, just move. Okay, we start moving. I took my kids and my wife. We moved to our sister area, which is about 10 kilometers away from my extended family. We moved there. Of course, we cannot carry the beds, we cannot carry the mattresses, we cannot carry so heavy things. We cannot carry. We left everything. We abandoned everything because we want to save our lives, which is more important,
Yeah.
and our kids. So we moved there at the middle of night. Unfortunately, it was about maybe 11 or 12 midnight. So we moved there. We reached about maybe half an hour. We reached that area because it's about maybe 7 to 8 kilometers. And we were running, by the way, middle of night. You have to run, otherwise you may die because there is no choice. You have to find any wall, any building that you can hide behind. Otherwise, you will die because that area, after they start asking us to move, they destroy most of the houses. So there is nothing in the street you can hide behind. Nothing. All those houses are destroyed. So you feel like you are in a horror movie. Actually, it's
Yeah.
not a life. There is no any estimation of human life. There is no any value. They counted us as a number, not as a human lives.
So you're carrying your baby. He was like 7 months old.
Yes.
And you're dragging along your two other children who are like
I was
6 years
I
old,
was
5
carrying
years old.
my two kids, one 7 months old, and my daughter, which is 4.5 years old. I
Yeah.
was carrying both of them, and also I was hanging a kind of belt around my waist, which is to carry two bags of our kids, two bags for this included some of the diapers, some of the milk containers, and also some of the winter clothes. Imagine also, by the way, we went to Gaza from Malaysia in the early of winter, and winter that in Palestine it was not so called early of winter because we were expecting to come back after 1 month. But when the war started there and we start, the winter also started in the early of October. The situation and the winter situation season in Gaza, it's really catastrophic. No one would bear the winter season in the Middle East,
And you're
especially in
living
Palestine.
in tents as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And imagine you are living in a tent, no house, no buildings, nothing, no concrete, all in tents, and all these makeshift tents built with nylon and with a very old materials, which is nylon, some also of blanket. We use our own blanket to cover this tent in order to have some privacy, which is very difficult to live in the midst of night with the situation around you. There is nothing to save you, and also the main problem was also the fighting where every single day. Even we moved to the humanitarian area, what so-called Israel is saying, there is no humanitarian area. After a few days, they start invading the humanitarian area with around 40 Israeli tanks and 25 bulldozers. They start invading our areas, which is 100% tent, no any one structure, building structure there. All tent, 100% tent, because it was near the Mediterranean Sea, which is in Al-Mawasi area.
Oh, which is where the
Well,
people
exactly,
yesterday.
where they bombed yesterday.
I see. Yes, yes. So even an elderly person or a disabled person would just have to be dragged from place to place
Exactly.
within an hour of a
It
warning.
was really difficult and it was really impossible for those elderly or those disabled people to carry them because you have to carry it. For my uncle, for example, their sons, they start carrying him for the first half an hour. After that, they said it was really difficult. We are going to stay in one of the destroyed houses near the road. So they stayed there until the daytime, until the next day, because
Yeah.
they cannot keep moving in the middle of night. And my uncle body was quite heavy because he was about 90 years old. He was 90 years old, and his body was healthy. He was a very healthy man. He was about maybe around 75 or 80 kg. So it was very difficult for those two guys to carry him for more than 1.5 an hour at the middle of night. So they abandoned by one of the destroyed houses near side the road.
So if you're moving from place to place and you have young children, how do you get water and food? Because the baby needs,
In terms of water and I think it was really impossible to get food at that time because 100% of our food was a canned food, all canned food. And these canned food, sometimes when you try to open it, it's already expired, it's spoiled. You
Yeah.
have no choice, you have to eat it.
Who would give you the food? Who gives the aid? It's like one of the NGOs.
Those kind of food it usually come by the tanks or trucks from Egypt. We don't know who's the person who's behind this food, but normally
They've spoiled.
some of these NGOs or some of those people in the official side, either in Palestine or the Egyptian side, some of those traders they don't care about the people. They just want to have their own money value, so they just care about the money. So some of these tanks and some of these containers were really spoiled food. And at that area, I remember when my son was 7 months old, he got the kind of chicken pox for the whole body. He got a chicken pox because he ate from those kind of full, what we call full. It's chickpeas.
Yeah.
He ate from this container. For the first time he ate, the next day all his body was
it's a rash. I see.
Yes, it was a kind of rash, and it lasted for him almost 2 weeks because there is no any medicine.
No medicine
No
as well.
medicine at all. No medicine at all. Even all the medical center had been destroyed. And the medical centers are, after this getting destroyed, they start opening a makeshift, and those makeshift has also been targeted. So it's kind of
Yes.
a cleansing, ethnic cleansing
Yes. Yes.
war. It's not a kind of normal war. It's a genocide.
Yeah, it's a genocide where they don't allow living conditions to
Nothing.
be
Yeah.
met. Yeah. Yes, that's terrible. Oh, how did your wife react? Because it was the first time that she had been to Gaza, and
Yes.
so it must have been such a shock to her.
At first, she was really very happy and very warm, because she got a very warm welcome from my family members. She was really
Yes.
happy. But after the October 7th, she was really scared, and she got a coma, and she had fainted several times because one of the Israeli snipers tried to shoot her while she was cooking in one of the tents. After we have several times displacement, one of the tent in Amawasi area, she almost been shooted in her shoulder, and unfortunately the bullet just dropped beside her, because the duration of the bullet has meaning that it's almost 1 kilometer or 2 kilometers. This is the direction of the bullet. So we were far enough from the soldier. So when he shot, the bullet just dropped beside my wife's shoulder. So meaning that if we were a bit closer, she could be dead.
Why did they want to shoot her, or is that just a random
Just
shooting?
a random shooting, just random.
Do you see the soldiers around you when you were there? I mean, were they like surrounding the places
In
where
the
they killed?
daytime, it's very difficult to see them because they are almost hiding behind the dunes, the sand dunes, and in the night they start coming with the bulldozer. They start coming with the heavy and huge tanks, but they will never get out of from these tanks. By the way, they will never get out of from these tanks. Even they have a heavy military behind them, but they are still very scared. They even cannot get out from these tanks. They
I
start
see.
shooting everywhere as a kind of random shot because they expect the danger from everywhere.
Yes, I see. And then people will ask, like, if I understand that normally with babies, the mothers would be able to feed them
Yeah.
milk so that they don't have to look for formula milk. I know that there's a real shortage of milk over there. You told me your wife went through a trauma and it meant that she could not feed the baby.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. At the first few weeks after October 7th, she was naturally breastfeeding my son. But after she got this kind of situation and scenario, she fainted several times out and she got a coma. After that, she stopped breastfeeding. She cannot breastfeed anymore because the milk, there is no way to get the milk out. So it was very difficult. We tried to find any traditional medicine to use, but all has failed. So there is no way to get a milk for the kid. My son starts crying here and there every day for almost 1 week without finding any solution. Then my mother decided I have to go and find some formula milk. And the situation getting worse. After we found the formula milk, because the formula milk in Gaza after October 2nd, it was really rare to find. And you cannot find the same single type of formula milk for the whole duration. For example, 1 month or even 1 week, you cannot find it. When you go to the market, whatever amount I found in the market, I have to buy because the next day I may not find any kind of formula milk.
Yes.
So it was really difficult, and because of changing formula, my son has started losing weight. When we go to Gaza, he was about 10 kg. Then when we left Gaza, he was 4.5 kg. Imagine he lost almost 50% or 60% of his body weight because of the milk and because of the changing milk. So he started having a kind of daily diarrhea and daily vomiting, daily rash, and so the situation was really unbearable.
I can't imagine. Then the children who are still there now in Gaza, you're talking about almost 1 year of genocide, and they would be malnourished. And you imagine the long-term effects as well of this on children who are growing. It's just terrible. What about the waters? What's your daily life like there when you wake up in the morning? I mean, I presume you're always having to look for food and water and medicines and all that.
The daily routine in Gaza for the past 7 months when I stayed there, we can just tell you briefly. Let's dive together in one day in Gaza. From the day we woke up, we pray Fajr. After that, we get the water tanker, some water tanker or gallons of water bottles, and we have to go in a queue to find a water, which is really very difficult because if you do not go from the morning, it will be very difficult and a kind of impossible mission for you to get water to bring to your home. We do not have any kind of big tanks for water supply because we are living in a tents. So there is no any kind of these things. So you have to get your gallon or your tank and start going to find a water supply. Sometimes you need to walk around 10 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, sometimes 1 hour to look for a source of water. So in about, for example, 5 or 10 kilometers, there is a one guy over there. He having a kind of big tank who's supported by some of NGOs. They are providing water for drinking. So we need to go there, and you will see a long queue in the front of you because you came by 9 or by 8 in the morning, but there's some people came there by 5 a.m. They came there just to get a queue, to be in the queue for the water. So I will find that, for example, 10 or 20 people in the front of me. It's okay. I still can finish before Zuhur. So I keep in the queue after, for example, Zuhur, maybe by 2 or 3 p.m. I managed to fill 1 or 2 container, which is going to be enough for me and my family only for one day. The next day I need to go to the same routine
6 hours just to queue up for a container of
for the
water.
container.
That's not even food.
And exactly, I'm going to continue.
Yeah.
This is only for the water. After we finish, I took the water, I sent it back to the tent. So now the turn of getting food or getting a bread, which is roti. So we have to get a small basket of roti from some of those bakeries. They have sponsored by some of the NGOs. I went there honestly for some of these bakeries. They are sponsored. So the wheat or the flour was sponsored by these NGOs. So we have to pay nothing. It's all free. We just go start get yourself in the queue for about 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, up to you. You need to wait there until you get one basket of bread, which is about 5 or 6 pieces. It's not even going to enough for you and your family for one day.
So you get like one meal a day. That's all.
Exactly, for 1 meal. So after that, you go home. It's almost 7 or 8 midnight. It's 7 or 8 evening. So the whole day has gone. You're going to sleep because you cannot keep moving after 8. In the whole Gaza, after October 7th, no one would be even dare to move after 8 p.m.
What happens?
Because it's very easy to be sniped and very easy to be killed because Israeli drone is starting every single day, and starting evening after 5, after 6, the Israeli people start moving here and there and start getting out from their tanks. When they start getting out from their tanks, the drone, if the drone can what we call can nominate or can see any person moving, they will shoot him. They consider him as a fighter.
Are the drones everywhere?
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Even the safe places.
Imagine even in the safest places in Gaza, what they call Al-Mawasi humanitarian area, a drone every single day and every single hour. There is, wallahi, I used to stay there even 6 months near Al-Mawasi area. Every single hour there is a drone. Even 1 hour you cannot sleep without the noise of the drone. So at the end we start familiarizing ourselves. So some hour or 1 or 2 hours when they have to do a shift for the drone to change from the drone to drone. So the sky is very calm. We cannot sleep because we become familiarized with the drone. Even we cannot sleep without the noise of the drone, and the noise is very very strong. It's not a small noise or a little noise you can just hear. overcome it. No, it's very, very strong, very, very noisy.
So you have to force your children to stay in the tent, even though it's small,
Even small, yeah.
because they can't go out at all after that time.
After that time, they cannot move. No one would be able to move. And if you are going to move for something urgent or something forcing you to move, you can, but at the same time, you are endangering yourself.
Yeah.
You may be killed at any minute.
I think it was in January or February when you contacted me and you told me
Yes.
that you were going to
It
plan to
was
try find a way to come out.
exactly. It
Yes.
was end of January when I started contacting some of my brother and sister here in Malaysia, and even I wrote 1 or 2 emails to the Prime Minister of Malaysia to ask him if there's any way to get out through the Egyptian officials. But it was really difficult for me, and it was really hard to find even a small reply from my
Yeah.
brother and sister, because in order to send a message from Gaza with a very poor Wi-Fi signal, it needs days and days just to wait for this WhatsApp tick. That means the message has been delivered to him. He can see the message now.
Yeah, because sometimes I'd send you a message, but you would not reply till the
Exactly.
next day.
Until sometime 24 hours or even 48 hours, I cannot reply because there is no internet. And the internet is not in my surrounding area. I have to go around 15 or 20 kilometers. Sometimes I need to move from Khan Yunis Al Mawasi area to Rafah area, which is called Rafah Al Auda, which is around 15 or 20
You
kilometers.
have to walk.
Yeah, sometimes walking, sometimes bicycle, sometimes if I can see anyone he has a truck or a cart, donkey cart, I ask him, please take me.
Just to
He said,
get a
okay,
signal on your
exactly,
phone.
exactly, just to get the signal.
I
It was
see.
really, really hard. Wallahi, the situation is undescribable. Whatever I'm going to tell is undescribable. And I can dare if any normal or human being on earth would be able to live 1 minute in Gaza. 1 minute, you won't be able to live.
You know, we can't even survive in Malaysia. We're so used to having electricity all the time. Even half an hour is like unbearable.
Allah, it's a blessing.
And there's been no electricity supply in Gaza for almost a year.
For almost a year. And before that, almost 17 years, we have a huge electricity shortage. So every single day, before October 7th, every single day in Gaza, we get electricity only 4 to 5 hours. For the past 17 years, every single day we get electricity 4 to 5 hours only. So the rest of 20 hours, no electricity. And we used to it. We are happy with that. But we are going to improve it. But when October 7th started, so we were saying, Wallahi, we were living in Jannah before 7th October.
Imagine
Imagine the situation from worse getting worse.
Yes. Were you able to keep in touch with your family members in the other parts of Gaza, or were you always traveling with them so that you were close to your parents and your siblings?
When normally after October 2nd, most of the Gazan people they prefer to stay together.
I see.
Because
Yes.
at least if you need some help, if you need some assistance in making your makeshift in order to help with you with some kids, your family issues, anything, even your wife issue, if your wife gets sick, you have some of your relatives behind or beside you. It's better to be there. So this is the kind of society connection in Gaza. Even we are moving from area to area, from city to city, we keep moving together.
Okay. I think I'll speak to Dr. Hassan now. Dr. Hassan?
Yes.
I was wondering, when you were here, how easy was it to communicate with your family, with your wife and your children and your parents? Where were they? Were they also displaced in different areas?
All right. Communication was incredibly, it's very difficult during the war after 7th October. Wherever you are in Gaza, it is still difficult. Actually, my family were located in Rafah, and all my in-laws, they were from the north. They came over into my apartments. Uh, more like 120 people were living in my apartment because they moved from there. Regarding the communication, where I had no contact at all with my family in some days because of the infrastructure in Gaza. That was very damaged, and getting in touch was like impossible sometimes. Sometimes I can contact with them for few minutes every other weeks, sometimes once a month. Uh, the hardest part was not knowing where they are still alive or they able to survive, and uh, at the end of the day, I can contact them or not.
I see, yes. And I know that your wife and your children came here, but your other family members, are they still there in Gaza?
Yes, my parents are still there. My sisters, they're
Yeah.
all my in-laws still there. The other day, just like 2 weeks ago, they got bombed at the tent, and my wife lost three members of her family. Also, the other tent, in a different day, I got a group of my family, the whole area, like 10 people. The mother, her sister, her daughters, and her grand children were killed. So only one child survived from the whole family.
Oh, God. So they just bombed the tent for no reason?
They just bomb the tent with no reason. Sometimes they say or they announce that they suspect, that there is a fighter there and fighter there, but it's just nonsense. They are
Yeah.
looking for, excuses.
Yes. Yes. Because most of the dead would be women and children
Only
as well,
mostly
isn't it?
they are
Yeah.
targeting children. In fact, they are targeting children because half
Yeah.
of uh, the people who have killed in Gaza were children.
Now that your family is with you, how are they adapting to normal life now? Now that they're
Um,
out?
well, since the day they came to Malaysia, it was a struggle, really. I remember when I went to the airport to receive them, they looked totally different from the day that I left them there. My wife lost about 25 kilograms. All my children, they just look like skeleton, especially the twins. They were, because as Dr. Al-Aqad said, getting milk there was impossible.
Yeah.
If you have the chance to get it once, it will not. If you will not get the chance to have it another time. Um, Also, when they came, they were still living in that scenario of the war. They're still terrified. I remember the other day, it was raining heavily here in Malaysia. The lighting sound, they were terrified. They just, were shouting, Israel. Do we have Israeli here in Malaysia? Is that bombing? Is that, So they're still living that
The trauma,
terrific trauma
the
that,
trauma,
yes,
PTSD.
yeah. Even my 2 years daughter, imagine she is only 2 years, and the other day she woke up telling me that the Jews killed her aunt, which is the one that is very close to her. She actually raised her during the war. As I told you, they moved to our apartment, my in-laws.
I see.
I was actually in shock. How come she knows what is Jewish, what is bombing, what is killing? It's
She's
it's
two
ter-
years old.
2 years old. Yes,
But are they slowly getting used to life? I hope so. I mean,
yeah.
normal
I'm
life.
trying my
You know.
best, to getting them
Yes.
here there so that they can forget whatever they go through. But it will absolutely leave some scars. It's
Yes.
unforgettable.
I think
Yeah.
I think every child after this will need some kind of therapy
Yes.
or something
Fair.
to
Absolutely.
yeah. because it's still not over as well. I think
It's
as
not
long as genocide is not over, you will, whether you're safe here or not, it's still going to be, part of
because
your life
yes,
and your trauma until now.
still we
Yes,
have our parents there, which they are very old. They're supposed to have, relaxing and you
yes,
know, good life. Instead, they
and they're
are living
moving.
in tent, barely finding food and water, no
Yes,
electricity at all. As Dr. Al-Aqad said, we had 7 hours electricity before 7th October, which we after consider as Jannah, it is terrifying now. We cannot do anything simply. Everything that they're supposed to have, they don't simply.
yes.
So whenever
Alhamdulillah for whatever. Yeah,
Alhamdulillah, whenever we go, we eat, we just think that our parents cannot get that food, which is
yeah.
the same feeling that I had when my children were in Gaza. They couldn't find an egg to eat. They couldn't find, a slice of bread. But this is what we have to live with.
Yeah. Can I ask Dr. Akkad, do you also lose many members of your family?
Yeah, unfortunately, I lost my eldest brother, Mansour. His name is Mansour. He used to be an OKU, which is disabled and handicapped person. He was walking with his stick for days and days, and started from 7 October. Um, he start restricting his movement because it was very difficult for him to move from here and there because of there is no transportation, nothing to carry him, nothing to make him move from here to here with his stick. So he started restricting his movement and he's staying mostly at home. On 30th of December, just 1 year before the new year, which is still under genocide, 30th of December, he was coming to see me in my sister house because as I told you just now, I moved to my sister house from my family house, extended family house, to my sister house, which is about 9 to 10 kilometers. I moved there. So after 1 week, my eldest brother, he was coming to visit me. So he took a shower, pray in the morning, and at 8:30 or 9 a.m. in the morning, he took the road moving by his own stick, by the way. He was moving, coming by foot, by his bare foot, for around 10 kilometers. It was a night, 9 a.m.
He
So
was going to, as an disabled person, he was going to walk 10 kilometers.
exactly, yeah, he was coming by walking, through walking, even with his own stick. He was coming walking from that area.
He must love you very much.
Exactly, wallahi. He was my oldest brother. And he
Yes.
was waiting me like on Tenterhawk. He was waiting me a long time to come to Gaza. And Alhamdulillah, I met him and we have so many time to hug each other. We have so many hours to enjoy. And that day he was coming to see me because I was absent from the house for almost 2 weeks. I was staying with my sister in her house. So he was coming to see me. Just after 10 minutes after he left the house, as an Israeli drone shoot him with 2 rockets. Imagine, 2 rockets has been shooted with an OKU man. He has been shot 2 rockets. Once we tried to find his body in the hospital after that, we cannot find anything. Only his head, only the head remains. The whole body was disappeared. The whole body disappeared. And what's the reason for shooting him? No reason, just because he's a Palestinian. Even he was handicapped, he was disabled, he was having his own stick moving with him. But even though he was shooting with 2 rockets, imagine. So this is the real Israelis.
Yes.
This is the real Zionists.
Yes.
And at the end, they are saying we are willing for two-state solution. What two-state solution? We are not going to accept any kind of this.
And the thing is, they don't want to live side by side with the Palestinians because
Exactly.
they're trying to do ethnic cleansing.
Yes.
And
And unfortunately, like the word cleansing or cleaning is a positive word. It should be ethnic discrimination, not
Yeah.
ethnic cleansing.
Yeah.
It's literally ethnic extermination what's happening and we are witnessing in Gaza. It's
Yes.
totally extermination because they are not allowed even animal to be lived on that land. The
Yes.
whole plants, the whole olive trees, everything has been destroyed. Everything. Imagine the whole area has nothing, only olive trees, farms. After they destroy the whole houses, they start coming and opening the graves and pulling all these olive trees and put them in the graves. After they move the bodies from the grave by the bulldozer, they put olive trees on the graves. Imagine this kind of mindset.
Yes, it's crazy. It's like, of course, they've totally dehumanized the Palestinians. Sorry to ask you to relive your memories. I know they're very traumatic memories, very sad as well. What do you wish now next for Gaza? I know, of course, you want peace. Is there anything else you want to say now to the listeners?
The most important thing we are, as a Palestinian, we are aspire to. We would love to see the whole world standing by our side in order to kick those Zionists from our land and to have our own freedom, our own self-determination, same as any human, same as all nations. Why only the Palestinian who doesn't have the right to speak? Why only the Palestinian doesn't have any kind of a freedom? The whole world is speaking about the freedom, speaking about democracy, speaking about democracy, speaking about speech of freedom of speech or whatever kind of human rights, kids' rights, women rights.
Yeah.
There is no any kind of these rights applicable to Palestinian. Even the United Nations, who is speaking about those rights, they cannot defend the Palestinian rights.
Yes, it's shocking, isn't it?
Exactly.
That how this happens, and
I think, unfortunately, most of the big or the superpower countries, when they want to have a solution, they said, okay, we ask that for the two-state solution, and we want to initiate a new resolution. We are not going to accept any resolution because from 1948 until now, United Nations has issued more than 88 resolutions. Israel has implemented none, nothing. 88 resolution has been forced and initiated by the United Nations and by US and by those calling themselves as a superpower and the 5 countries. Nothing has been implemented by Israel. Nothing, even none. Imagine 88 resolution. And now they are calling again for a resolution to stop the war. Come on, what kind of resolution? We are not looking for resolution. We are looking for a humanitarian support. We are looking for a freedom of our own nation.
Inshallah, you will get it soon.
Inshallah.
Dr. Hassan, any last words you would like to, any comments you would like to have before we close?
As Dr. Al-Aqad said, our wishes and dreams are very simple. We just want to live in peace. We want to settle down. As I told you before, I have been working in Malaysia for almost 8 years. I've been saving and saving, and then when I went home, I built an apartment, and then with one rocket, it's all gone. So I have no place to go, you know. So all we want is our right. Is just want to live, in peace. We want to settle down. I know this is my house. I can go anytime that I want. But we even don't have that right. If I want to go home right now.
But you would go back, right? If you had a chance to go back to Gaza one day and rebuild,
I would
presume
go now. Absolutely. I would go right now. My
Yes.
parents, my mother is there. I'm very attached to my mother. It's everything that I have in my life. So absolutely,
Yes.
I will go now.
Okay. Thank you very much to our two speakers, Dr. Hassan, Dr. Alakat. Thank you for sharing your experiences. I am sorry if it made you sad. I have to relive these sad memories. But I hope that inshallah we all can work together and advocate and do whatever we can to free Palestine. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.